Now, the most enduring and most interesting thing about How to Be Evil, or the Manual Be Evil by Black Cat, is sort of the fusing of ideas of pop culture, anime, cartoons, video games, and iconic moments in a movie that you may or may not know actually reappear off that book. Because I love this book so much, it's because it doesn't really tie itself to be just referential. It wants to do something so much more. You want to fuse and create something so unique they give you a very introspective of this world and how it was sort of kind of created because Alan was sort of raised by the internet as like you hear some people I'm raised by TV or web series or comic books. This is sort of the idea of some nerd who loved so many different things and fuse it together to create a very unique universe that you want to know more because all it pitches and homages or creativity of the original idea. And it's because it is fascinating because you don't know if this is a reference or this is a reference. Like two little things here you just don't know, but the more you keep turning the pages, you realize, oh, this one is a reference, not this one. But you realize that's an homage. And you keep going because you don't know it's a reference or homage, a remake, or a sort of a cliche or their version of a horror trope idea of a character. And that's what it make it so interesting. It's just kind of fascinating. Of course, before I actually show you all the references, remakes, or ideas of some shows they see and make it to this universe, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation. I like to talk about reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, put a like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's good. But if you do, thank you, because of you, I am getting to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And I'm getting close every single day because of you who put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now, let's get started of all the crazy idea they come up with of all the pop culture and then not relying on it, in fact, reinventing the wheel to becoming something so unique and special. Now, let's get started of the video. One of the few things that really stands out is basically the kind of reference of Emperor New Groove that you see Isma trying to take out something under her dress, and that's all, oh my god, shocking. There is a specific page that actually reference that. It just sort of surprisingly decided to reference it. But one of those things that you should have know or you do know that's actually a reference. But I'm also inspired of other little things. For example, there is sort of a fusing of a Shredder and Darth Vader as one character that was sort of surprised they actually made it as a thing. But it kind of is interesting how they took that idea and fused with them. Also have other characters, not even characters, it's all homage of sort of kind of slashers, murderers, or kind of cliches type of characters like this is sort of kind of mounted man with the bag, with the saw, with the knife type tape next to it to become his sort of murder spree, but just posing by the camera guy taking the photos. Or you have another one very similar, a cheerleader bunny girl who is a, I guess, murderer also, or slasher. We also have a pop fiction movie reference about the guy who is the buyer who has a cut behind his neck, who could be his soul stuck to that little tie. Or I think one of the biggest highlights of it all, and sort of one of the biggest, is the most interesting reference, is sort of Batman and Spider-Man fused together with his arch enemy, the Joker, and also the Hobgoblin mixed together, becoming this new type of fusion that is just sort of weird and strange, but so unique because he kind of does grab your attention and want to know more about it. In fact, they actually show a very iconic thing of Spider-Man on the second movie of the 2000s, the one about the train track stopping by Spider-Man, they actually reference that in the movie. I mean, in the movie, in the book of one specific scene. But even that, it goes even further to anime territory that you see. Remember Pokemon? When you watch the anime, they actually is remember who is this Pokemon, and they have a sort of a kind of a reference similar to see who is this enemy, and you expect to be, oh, it's Dr. Flood. No, it's sort of a fusion with Black Cat and Dr. Flood, and that's sort of the run take, and that's kind of interesting. What I mean is, it has a very bizarre, choppy humor they can't not ignore because the more you keep looking at it, the more you find it kind of fascinating. Is how slowly and steadily building the world without you actually noticing, or if you do know the reference, or you don't. It doesn't really kind of necessary. For example, there is a reference of Breaking Bad about Heisenberg and Jesse working as sort of supervision or advisors instead of kind of this specific room doing something questionable, but they look like them, but yet there's their own thing. And I think that's what's so special about it. You have a lot of moments like that make this book just so interesting to just keep looking at it, just turning pages. Some references so vague that you sort of couldn't miss it, like the kind of like the first movie of this, not the first movie, this the I think second movie, Cinderella famous pumpkin cart that she needed to ride. They have a reference, but a sort of evolution or inspiration of that because you have a pumpkin with wheels, with claws, but the color kind of grayish, and that just sort of surprising because they have more something like this in the issues. Like there has one about a reference of the Tim Burton Batman sequel movie about the penguin's vehicle as a penguin driving. Even that villainous is owned by Warner Brothers. They can easily do it if they choose to put the penguin on there. In fact, it's not the first time they actually did it, so I'm sort of surprised they chose not to do it. In fact, this is another one. Well, not just one. They like three of them, different vehicle references that is sort of fusing with different ideas. There's one that is sort of a kind of Dragon Ball Z reference of Frieza using his chair, fusing the chair of Bowser from Mario, fusing as a sort of vehicle by itself. They sort of look like those type of fusion together, mixed with basically Mario Brothers Koopa's vehicle. It's just a very out there sort of idea that it's just so visually interesting that you want to know more. There's like another vehicle is called the Coyote Car that is basically a motorcycle head. The head skull looks like Chopper from One Piece, but using the hat of uh, the Dexterity. Sorry, I'm stuttering here. The Wacky Racer main villain's hat on it. It's just something that you know the reference. You will easily notice. If you don't, you just see the very interesting design. In fact, it's another car that could be a Wacky Racer car, but once more, just sort of could be inspired by Wacky Racers. There's another vehicle look like from inspired by another horror movie. The third one called Jeepers Creepers vehicle truck that feels a sort of inspiration of that. In fact, not just inspiration. I said at the very beginning, you do have kind of iconic movie moments or movie quotes here, like the famous scene of the Terminator that John Connor's mother hiding behind the desk. The Terminator reappears. You have a reference of that, but a fusion with two different IPs, Terminator and Alien fusing together. That is just sort of a weird design that actually grabs your attention. You know, you want to know more about it. And I think this was so kind of special because you wasn't expecting that. But there's so much more of those specific references. They actually had video game references also that I mentioned, like Mario. They have a couple of moments it reappears. There is a moment that you see Mario's own hat when the Pacific villain using his hand instead of a skull sees Mario's hat. There's another image of Zelda that sort of you have Gandalf and Link one on one fighting together. You also have other video game references that it's just sort of hard to miss. For example, there is sort of a kind of mix with kind of Koopa as a villain, like a crocodile, but his hero version is basically Luigi, switch, kind of blended with Superman. You have moments that just really stands out, catch your attention, but it's just truly kind of interesting and very experimental. And I think that's the best way to describe it because it keep constantly showing very unique ideas. They just represented to see if this is sort of funny because it's usually a point of sort of humor you should actually know. Like there's perceptively one comic book sort of reference that's sort of infamous in comic book world. The famous laugh of Batman slapping Robin. It's just sort of so infamous it's becoming sort of a meme. They actually reference it in a panel of this sort of, I'm guessing, hero slapping a villain that is basically Loki fused with someone else. If I showed the other image of this version of Loki that you know with that Pacific mustache, I won't tell who they reference to, but you can understand why they sort of reference that specific character because I say his name, I'd probably be monetized because this is YouTube, and YouTube is very weird. But all of that, not just that, you also have like Dora Explorer references. Like you have a guy who has the backpack, a pink hat. It's just sort of a huge giant man harassing Dr. Flood. But yet that's sort of a reference of Dora Explorer. There are also other not just references cliches. Like there is evil scientist. There is sort of a cliche character in cartoons, but also a cliche anime character with the bright light glasses, smiling evilly, experimenting in a mouse. But once more, that is a cliche done so well that you know it, you know. You're not that fine. It's not fully committed to actually know that reference. Like another sort of reference, if you know or you don't know, is two iconic, sort of interesting characters they show. There's sort of a balloon that is sort of look like Team Rocket, but instead of using Meow as sort of the iconic balloon running away from Team Rocket, they use a completely different design, but it's sort of a reference of Meow's balloon. They also have the Thundercat references. I don't remember the character's name, but it's sort of a cat. He-Man, like the basically the He-Man sort of pet cat that he rides into. Yes, they actually reference that as sort of a ride that you can actually buy or use or borrow for other topic villains. And I feel that's sort of kind of fun because they keep doing this over and over. They have their own interesting sort of references that you know or you don't. For example, one of the most interesting one they actually have a screen reference. You have the normal a person who have the screen mask, but he is completely different design, but you know the reference. You if you know which character they reference it. And this is always so special because you have dozens of them. Like there's another one just a sort of a Team Rocket sort of reference. They use it sort of the OX gas station they have in the universe of villainous that they are basically their version of Team Rocket that have the same color designs. The only thing they just green and they have redhead, but it seems to look like kind of like the scrolls in a way, but it's sort of a reference if you know. Sometimes it's not a reference, sometimes it's sort of homages like Electro. They have a character who kind of look like Electro. You have another homage of a different villain that is basically the Sandman from Spider-Man, but it's completely different version of it. And that's what I really enjoy. They have so much fun. You just enjoy that sort of blending ideas. He also the commercials also, yes, this is super nostalgia of all comic book commercials or just commercial in general. That's like there's one about Old Spice, about this sort of character having like the can in his hand and women just fun over him. But you take very good view of that image, you're realizing they're actually referencing a video game character. The character they're actually referencing is sort of, if I remember right, the name is Pyramid Head that come out in Silent Hill. Yeah, it's the same character, but it's sort of homage to that character. Once again, it's just taking the idea and just spitting it out. And that's just all. There are so many more that I quietly don't really mention because there are so many and I don't want it to bombard this, but it's just sort of interesting and fascinating what they actually do. On top of this, I said it before, they do have in sort of comic book commercials here. If you've seen all comic books, you know what I mean. That sort of kind of weird kind of art style they use to grab your attention to sell specific items. They have that too here. It's just sort of fun to see actually doing that because you have to be a true old comic book fan or the person who likes that old style of comic book who just like to collect them or just see the art. You know what I'm talking about when you've seen this specific kind of art. It's just very interesting, very fun, and what's more, it's something that if you know, you know. If you don't, you finally do know because everything here is just fusing so many things. It's just kind of great. Even that there are some references that will probably pass over your head. I know that I've seen some that people say it's a reference, but I don't know what they're actually talking about. Believe me, there are so many different inspirational twists of references or homages or reimagining specific references that just caught you off guard. But yet it's just so creative. In fact, which reference do I actually miss? If you actually have the book or seen online, tell me down below, let me know. And that's basically it for right now. I don't want to make this video longer than I actually have. I have nothing to say. I just hope you like this video. This was sort of like the last minute idea. I'm sorry. Hopefully next week done a little bit better. But besides that, have a wonderful day and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.